All right, everybody, welcome to the Insight Cafe. I am so excited today because today, I have a very, very special guest. So I'm going to intro my guest and then we're going to bring her on. Today, I am thrilled to introduce our guest, someone who has been making a profound impact as a transformative coach, mentor, and founder of Center for Practitioners. Her work revolves around what she calls the understanding of life, a transformative paradigm that helps people see their worth, their capability, and the fact that they are loved every step of their journey. Her mission is to empower coaches, leaders, and public servants with this understanding to unlock their full potential, creativity, wisdom, and love. She's been living in Warsaw for the past 6 years with her husband of 29 years. We're going to ask her about that. And she regularly visits Ukraine to support those during challenging times. Welcome, Masha Liashenko.
Wow.
I know, right?
I,
I've been
wonderful.
practicing that.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. And I really enjoy every time we have an opportunity to talk about life and about understanding of life. I call this inside out understanding or per principles understanding. So what do you want to talk about today?
We're going to talk about you. What do you mean? What we're going to talk? We're going to talk about you.
Oh.
So I want to know. I read when we first connected, we first met in Prague at the World Listening Conference, and you had this energy about you that was so inviting, and so I'm going to say I don't think there's a word for it in English, but in Thai we say "mi kong." So in Thai, we say "mi kong," and I guess a way to translate it in English would be quiet presence. Like you don't know what it is about this person, but you know there's something. And so I would love to start off our podcast by asking you, what's your story? How did you get here? Where did you start? How did you how did you go from where you started to opening your school to being a force of nature to helping people wake up to their potential?
I was on a journey in search of happiness for as long as I remember myself. And happiness, in my understanding, was being loved. It was quite a journey because I tried to find it somewhere out there. And it never worked. Never worked. Until at some point, I realized that it was actually the thing that I was looking for was always within me. That love that I was looking for, that happiness that I was looking for was always within myself. And it was very kind of untangible at first, like you feel that the answer should be already given by default. Because when I try to find those answers, when I try to find that love, that happiness, that well-being, I learned a lot of different techniques. I learned different approaches, like the most modern approaches, the most how to say, elaborate and complicated approaches to mental health or to well-being, to happiness, to the harmony in life. But it felt that it's wrong, that it's so complicated. It's at some point, it kind of came to me that if psychological mental health, well-being is something that is vital, and it is vital even for body, even for our physical health. Like we need mental health to have physical health, actually, as we know now. So since it is vital, looking at how the world is created one might assume that everything that is vital is given. Like we need oxygen, it's in the air, breathe, for anybody, for everybody. We need, I don't know, sunlight. And we don't need it just so we could see stuff in the light, but we need it for metabolism, for like the whole biosphere of the earth would exist and provide everything for us. We need food. We have food just in nature. So we have everything we need. So if mental health, if happiness is something we need, it means we already have it. And I tried to find words for it, to bring it and explain this. And still I got very confused in all these complicated explanations about it. Until I was introduced to this very simple paradigm that was presenting how life works. So I'm calling it understanding of life, because for me, it's how life works. That we have been given everything we need, and it's all already there. And we also have this power of creation with our power of thinking, with our power of thought. And when I was kind of getting there slow, like step by step, once I figure out that we're spiritual beings, not only we are our human form. And then I realized that it's thoughts that create our experience. But then I realized that thoughts is like a paint. It's just a tool for creation. And the creator is something that is of importance, not paint, but a painter, but the artist is important, not the paint, but the artist. So I met people who knew something about it. So in their words, there were like glimpses of something that I already knew, but it was like more clear, more clear presentation of it, I would say. And I also was looking for this help, or for this explanation, for this presentation at the time where I knew we don't have time. Like we needed it yesterday, when the full range war started in my country, my home country, in Ukraine. So I felt like I need something simple, reliable, fast, and pain-free, because there was already so much pain. That's how it all started. And I was like sent, I got people like angels who were sent my way to help me. So I got a lot of help on the way from people who became my friends, and then my mentors, or first my mentors and then my friends. So it was all very encouraging, because I wasn't alone too in this journey, and I was not blindfolded on this path. So many of our friends who you also know, Marina Galan, Michael Neal, who introduced to me that presentation first, and then many more, and then we met. So.
Right, and then we met. When so I was right about my Thai word, mi kong. So when you speak, it feels like my heart lights up with warm, with hope and warmth. And it's not, I know it's not the words, but the feeling behind the words. And I guess, as Sydney Banks would say, if you have a good feeling, we should just stop and then have a good life. So it's been a great podcast. Thank you. Bye bye. But but I know the people who are watching, they want to hear more. So I will, just for them, I will ask you some questions.
Good.
Yeah, good. You said something, in what you said struck me. You said everything you want, you have, or everything you need, you have. Say more to that. What does that mean?
You know, when I in my search of mental health
Mm,
help to
mm,
myself first, because I was in a state that is diagnosed as depression,
mm,
and in my was recurrent depression. So I got out of one depression and dove into
mm, mm, mm,
dived into the next depression. Um, I started to study. We all know about physical needs, like we all know about the needs. Well, you need it to be alive. You
mhm,
need. There's a list of stuff we need. We already know that. But then there also I came in into the conversation about emotional needs. So not just physical needs we have, but also we have some emotional needs.
mm,
And those emotional needs were tricky because when we speak about physical needs, it's clear we need water, we need food, we need all that stuff, shelter from cold, so we would not. If we live in our part of the world, or in your part of the world, maybe not so much, but then emotional needs, people were researching to, and they approached emotional needs just as they would approach physical needs. You need to get them from somewhere else. Like you need to get that from parents, for example, while you're growing up in your early years. You need to get that from significant adults in your life while you're still, your brain is being formed, like before 10 years old, like frontal lobe part of the brain. So the thing was, you need to go outside and seek who will fulfill your emotional needs now. So you needed to get into some connection with healthy, mature people, get into friendships so they would nurture your soul, get into some healthy relationship that would nurture your soul, not just get some food to nurture your body. But then it was always the idea that you are lacking something. You're lacking something. That's why you need to go and get that. Well, you definitely, it's mutual. You give it and you get in return. But that was something that felt wrong. If we need it, if it's vital, then we probably don't know how to get to it, but we need to have it to be alive. So that was kind of my insight about it. And also the ancient scriptures that I was studying about God, about the idea of like higher being, higher creative power behind all of it. I heard and read that when we get into knowing that power, we uncover all that we need within that knowledge, like within ourselves, basically. So not just some powers that not connected to real life, some supernatural something, but actually that love, acceptance, wisdom, all of it, it's already kind of built in. It's innate. So we either uncover it within ourselves and then we use it in our lives, or we get confused and we feel lost because we have it but we don't see it and we can't use it. we cannot feel it, because I mean, it's not like using it, it's more of a acknowledging the fact that you are that, you feel that, you don't have to go anywhere to feel accepted. You just need to see that you are accepted. Since you're here, you're alive, well, you are accepted in this life because you are alive. Looks like, well, we are accepted. We are here. If we would not be accepted, we'll be kicked out of life because we're not accepted. But we are, and we are the only person who can not accept ourselves in this life.
What do you think makes people not accept themselves? Because they I feel like I hear that a lot with clients, with my speaking events, and I speak to people. They feel like they're not good enough, or they're not accepted, and they try so hard to be accepted. And oftentimes they might try and fill that void with money, um, like whatever thing they're chasing, right? Money, power, fame. Like, to if I can just have enough of this, I will feel accepted. I will
Yeah.
feel good enough. What do you make of that?
Well, all these things that we are like fighting for, or they do feel good sometimes.
Mm.
Like we think
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
so we feel good about it. But the thing is that the way I see it is, someone just taught us wrong.
Mm.
But we just picked up the wrong information. Like, there's like the good journalism and the bad journalism.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We got into the yellow pages journalism, like yellow press kind of journalism. Uh, it's our brain is so amazingly wired to protect us. So he just jumps at every opportunity to protect ourselves. And so it just develops that idea of being unsafe and being needy, because somehow this is easier to grab, because actually we actually created this way so we would survive. But we get confused, and I think people do not feel accepted, or they do not want to accept themselves, because some do not. Some of us do not want to accept ourselves. And for our brain, there is logic in it. Otherwise, we wouldn't do that. If like so our brain, if it has some logic connected to some idea or some image or some scenario, it's because we do not know the difference between what is and what isn't. So we think that acceptance or love or happiness is something that isn't. And we need to create a path or a condition for it to exist in our life. And our brain tried to find the way to create that condition. So we would go to some direction to find what we need, and we go and we try to get it, and we get into just all unnecessary efforts and stress and work. So that's what I think. That's how I see it.
Hmm. It's almost like it's a simple misunderstanding of what we're looking for and what we are.
Yeah.
As you were talking, I'm reminded of how it's almost like all the tools and techniques we've been taught are like how to drive a car better, but nobody ever taught us how a car actually works. And so we're trying to use all these tools and techniques, and it's not really working because nobody really taught us how a car actually works. And what you're pointing to is, feels like to me the nature of how we're built, of how everything we need really is within us, and we've just bought into the illusion or the thinking that it's not in us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It when you were talking, the metaphor came to me. It's like when you don't know. I know you guys have like huge skyscrapers, right? Skyscrapers build many stores. Like the highest I was 104th floor, but you
Mm-mm-mm.
probably
Yeah.
higher. And they actually have an elevator there. It, like, you are not required to walk 104 floors with your foot, right? On foot. But the thing is, when you don't know that there is an elevator and you only know about the staircases, but you know you need to be there because there is what you need. There is like healthy, wise, like happiness, love, everything, acceptance, freedom, um, all of it. And you see the stairs and you have no idea that lift even exists, the elevator. Yeah, like so you just walk the stairs because you don't know. And you still kind of will fight to finally. I had that experience. My husband and I were traveling in Latvia. It's where he was born, and we wanted to get on the top of the hill, and there was an ancient castle on that field, like beautiful. So we started to walk up the hill through the forest, and it was like very difficult. And we're like, no, we want to get there, and we want to get to the castle, and and like, so the trees and the bushes and all the debris, like we're trying to fight through that. And we go up there and we see the bus stop on top of it. And we're like, okay, look like looks like there was a more comfortable and simple and fast and easy way, which we just had no idea about. So it's not our fault that we didn't know. It's not fault of anybody because there was nobody who like, oh, it's my job to tell everybody there is a bus stop over there. You just either you know or you don't know. But good thing is we actually have somebody who's supposed to tell us that there's a bus stop or elevator right behind that corner in the lobby. Like, no, you need to go that way, sir. You have it. Like, it's like, whoo, super fast elevator, which is like, you get dizzy when you it's so fast because the system has that guardian angel, maybe, but or maybe just guardian system that's within us. It's our feeling that there's something wrong with that path. It's too feels too bad. It feels heavy. It's like something is wrong with me, which is not supposed to be, because life doesn't work that way. So.
Let me ask you about that. I get that question a lot about how do you discern between a deeper feeling and busy thinking? Because both things might feel heavy to someone. Like someone has asked me, like, how do I tell? I don't know, is this my wisdom or is this my thinking? And then my response was, if you have to ask, it's probably your thinking. But I'd like to hear your take about it.
Yeah, it's a good one though. It's
Yeah.
a good answer. I liked what you came up with.
Right. If
I
you have
don't
to
know.
think about it, if you have to think about it, it's probably your thinking.
Yes. It's funny. Because I know that you cannot describe it
Mm,
because it's like you cannot explain it to anybody. Because if it's your thinking, you can explain it. You can figure it out. It's it's something that you can work with, or figure out, or dig deeper, so analyze. uh, but if it's wisdom, it's, you said that sometimes both feel heavy. I mean, there's like different heavy. They're like heavy and
Like you know what I mean? How like you just know something's not right with this. You don't know what it is, but there's something not right about this situation, this person, and you need to leave. Like that kind of heavy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's like a some navigation from within tells you,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
odd fault.
yeah, yeah. Well, let me ask you about this then. You speak a lot about loving as a way of life and being free from old habits of judging yourself and others or life itself. I'd love for you to speak more to that. What do you mean by that?
You know, since we're believe erroneously, like
Mm,
erroneously believe that we're lacking something.
mm,
When it comes to love, we also believe we got into a habit of thinking that we're lacking something. And then we actually are lacking, but understanding only, not something, but we're lacking clarity, maybe. We are.
I a dear mentor and teacher, our mutual friend and teacher, Aaron Turner, said that the only thing we are up against is our understanding. And I wonder if you could share more about that too. Like what do you think he meant?
If you understand life,
Mm,
you live simple, free, and productive, actually, happy, fulfilled life, or whatever you want life, because you understand life. And if you don't understand life, you cannot be free, because you only see a glimpse of some part of the map, for example, but you don't see it. You only see partially sometimes, like in yin, like this, yeah, the white thing with the black
mhm,
dot in it,
mhm.
and the black part and the white dot in it. So when you don't understand, it's like all black, and sometimes there's white dots in it here and there, because you don't understand. And when you understand it, it's like, yeah, sometimes I forget, but I can be reminded and come back to that understanding. If you understand, then you know you are the creator of your life experience. And if you don't understand, then you can feel very insecure, because you have no idea where does it come from. And you think sometimes that it's life hurting you, and people are hurting you, or circumstances are hurting you. And then life, well, it's very heavy, it's very hard to live when you see life like that. There is no freedom in it. But the freedom is only a sign of love and understanding. Actually, coming back to the previous question, there is no love without freedom, and there's no freedom without understanding. So I judge someone because I don't understand. Where does it come from? Where does that behavior comes from? I think that, or yeah, that bad person, that's. But when I see that psychological innocence, yeah, how we call it, like, yeah, the responsibility for the deeds is real. It's real life. Life itself brings the responsibility to us. There is a consequence. There's this, yeah, like cause and consequences. But at the same time, when I see someone, I know that if this person would understand life better, he would have more life comes through that person into this life, more love, more light, more good. So the understanding is like a filter on our ability to shine our light, shine, like bring forth this love that we already have.
Mm. Can you share how what you just said, what are the implications of this understanding when it comes to life situations that people would say, yes, that's a very difficult life situation, like, for example, being in a war or a war zone, like I'm sure many of your students are in Ukraine. How, and I've met, the thing is, I've met your students and they're happy. And I remember in Prague when I met them, and I was like, wow, you're not joking. You're actually okay. And like, but their okayness wasn't like, oh, I'm fine, like the war's not that bad, but their okayness was flowing from them. And knowing that you were their teacher, I'd love for you to speak that, because some people who are listening might be, well, this is great if you have a nice life. It's easy to understand, oh, I'm a little bit stressed, anxious, oh. But when you're in a war zone and you have to be okay, I'd love for you to speak to that.
There's that beautiful old like prayer
Mm.
that people say that help me to have courage to change what I can change
The
and have
serenity, yeah, yeah,
patience to accept, or like wisdom to accept, and then serenity to figure out one from another.
yeah.
So this is the happiness of a person who is actually understanding. It's all because of understanding.
Mm.
Because and it's not intellectual understanding, because, well, yeah, we can show like this is because of this, this is because of this, and yeah, I can see the logic, but I don't feel it, so it's not applicable to me until I actually feel it inside. So it's more of a being aware of it, not just to understand intellectually, not just to get the information into my mind, into my brain. We can be calm and confident, not because everything is okay around us, but even when something is like tragedy is happening around us. When we understand that if we are a part of all, yeah, all is one. If we are part of the mind,
Mm.
there's a reason we're there too. So it's not, and we are there to understand and to love, and to show our love the best way possible in that situation,
Mm.
whether it would be whatever, teaching, helping, healing, sharing food, sharing shelter, doing our work, just our part, which seems little and insignificant, but it's never the case, because otherwise it would not be necessary for us to do anything. Then nobody would do it. Nothing would be done.
Mhm.
And when we understand that, when we're there, so when I talk to people who do not know what's going on in terms of creation of their experience, I'm not talking to them, oh, this is what you need to know so you would feel differently. I'm talking to them about what they love, who they love. And the only way you can be there for those you love, you can be there for the things you love, like for your life that you love. You can be fully present and fully productive or effective or helpful is when you are fully there with your pure heart, with your love, without your anxiety or panic. Because you're not going to help anybody if you're in panic, right? So I'm appealing to what they want. They want to be helpful. They want to be there for people they love. And the only way to be there is to actually be there, not to be in your thinking.
The only way to be there is to actually be there. There you go.
Yeah, because then, and I just show them the difference, how it is when you're thinking. You're absent from the very life you want to be helpful for, from those very people you want to be helpful to. And nobody can get into our brain or mind or a soul and start to do something without thinking. And it's good, actually. Nobody can hurt us from within. It's only us and only our picture of life. So when we see life for what it is, we know that just the law of life is beautiful. And then there is a free will of people and free thinking, and which is also the only way to come to some clear vision of life. So when I think of my daughter, for example, look, where's bombing or something happening, and my father's also in Ukraine, and my husband's mom is also in Ukraine. Many of my friends and students too. So I know I don't have to worry for them. It's very unproductive. I don't need to worry about them. I don't need to, well, I can. I'm free to worry, and I can choose to worry. But then I'm just exhausted and I cannot do anything to help. So I can choose. Do I want to be full of energy? Not that I every time is full of energy. We all get tired sometimes, but do I want to be there with my full resources? Or I want to be there with like no power at all. And then someone needs to help me. What's the point? And sometimes, yes, someone maybe can come and encourage me too when I'm tired. But so it works that when you understand that it's not war that is hurting you, or war is hurting our lives. It's destruction, it's tragedy. At the same time, I've never seen so many good-hearted people as I saw during that tragedy. People just were able to show the best of them in that. And it's not like, yeah, let's all have tragedies so hearts will shine. No, but some people saw themselves for who they really are. The someone who has love, someone who is able to sacrifice, someone who is able to help, to make a difference, to save lives, actually, even. Many of us had no idea that we're here. So, as much as we do want this war to end as soon as possible, we are making it something that will destroy us from within, or something that will just show who we are and how actually powerful and kind and helpful we are to our neighbor, to whoever.
One last question about this topic is you want to allow people to love life unconditionally. and include themselves in that unconditional love? How can someone begin to make that shift for themselves? How can they begin to let this understanding touch them in a way that helps them to start to see this way?
It comes to me that it's about seeing yourself with the eyes of God, kind of, like with, so see yourself from the point of unconditional love and wisdom that is already there. You cannot make it up for yourself to love yourself. Just create this little game of loving yourself unconditionally or conditionally. It's just that you can see it, and you can if you see that the only way to actually have a fruitful, healthy, wise, normal life is to go like a path of love. Because we understand that for our children, for example. We understand that for our loved ones. We understand that very well when it's about someone that we truly love. Like love in a way that it's okay that we disagree. I just want you like to be happy or fulfilled or successful or healthy or whatever. It's not about me. Like we're not making up any conditions to do good to other person, for example, or to give them freedom to do or be whatever they can be now. When we understand that conditions of our love are made up, we can keep playing that game of making up more conditions. It's okay, we can do that. The problem is when we don't understand that these conditions are not real. So we feel imprisoned by those conditions. But they were never real until we made it real for us or for someone else. It's not our fault. We just didn't see from different perspectives. We just didn't see clearly. Sometimes the only view on life we have is away from like basement windows up there near the ceiling. It's very dark and gloomy, and the only thing you see is dirt there. And just you just only sometimes you see just a little bit of light coming through that, and you're like, wow, like it's light, but you don't think that it's for you because you don't see more of it, because that's just out of habit. Somehow we got conditioned. Someone told us, not verbally sometimes, that this is the world that we live in, this is what you deserve, this is. But then we can see that if we see that we are not our body, if we see that we are not our thinking and not our behavior, then who we are? Then who are we? If we are someone, we don't even know what it is. It's something intangible. It's something that, I know, the spark of life, like this spark of life. And this spark is love. And this spark of life, there is no way you can give it into this world the wise way, the healthy way, omitting yourself and excluding yourself from that love. Because if you're giving that, not including yourself, then you start expecting something in return because you're lacking. You're not free to give love when you're not including yourself. You need someone else to come and love you back. in return. And it just never works well, because this bad feeling is a sign that we're moving in the wrong direction. The slacking, I need someone to come and love me because I was doing so much for them. Where is my thank you? Where is their gratitude? Like, what's wrong with them? I gave all my heart. Then we just creating lack of love for ourselves, because what we were giving away was not actually exactly love. It was a way to win people over or get something from them. It was not the goal itself, because love is the goal. The highest goal, the ultimate goal is love. When we give something and we expect something in return, it's not love. We don't use love as a goal of giving just because of love and because this is the way. But then love is only how do I say, not a life. Love should be a reason, not a source. Source, but not that source, but that the reason that is a source, not the medium to get something to something or get something from someone. So it is our life, and everything we do is some form of love, whether true or twisted. Either it's a attempt to get love, or either it's free giving. It's like this or that. I don't know if I answered your question though.
I think you've answered a lot of questions. I could listen to you all day. What I saw in that was how I see the simplicity in it, and how at the source of it is love. And if we recognize it and understand it and come from that, our lives begin to change, because we're no longer fighting to get love. We're just coming from it. The thing we've most wanted, we have. And when we have the thing we most want, the way we interact with the world in front of us changes. What we want changes. What we need changes. The way we speak to people changes.
Yeah.
I'm reminding myself at the beginning of this conversation, I told the audience I would ask Masha about being married to her husband for 29 years. So what is something you could share about being happy in, or having a loving relationship for 29 years?
Being happy in the relationship, about understanding that your happy doesn't depend on the other person. That other person is not to make me happy. This other person is a like soulmate mind, like one mind type companion to share the journey of two happy people, actually. So it's like I do not need my husband to feel happy or to be happy, and he doesn't need me for that. We're just really enjoying the journey together, and we are best friends first. And best friends is more pure form of love than any love, I think, kind of structured. It's because you don't really need anything from that person. You just enjoy hanging out together, whatever it is about. But also, this is it's an agreement too, because marriage is an agreement. It's not only friendship. it's also an agreement. And it's also an agreement of commitment. So it's also about knowing the love never, it's unending something. It's like, oh, I'm stop loving someone. Well, when you don't understand love, you can definitely stop loving someone. For us, it's more of a like just like a spiritual cooperation, like spiritual project, like the business project too, because love, well, family is a big business, you know. It's a bigger business than business. So we're really conscious about what we're building in our family. Like really, we treat it as the most important project in our lives that we do together. So we sometimes we get into our thinking. Sometimes we get tired and get into our thinking. And then we're like, whoa, what was that? Like a bad dream. It's gone. So I think it's I think it's about friendship. I think it's about looking in the same direction in life and willing to build life together.
Last
Forgiving,
question.
a lot of forgiving.
A lot of
a lot of
forgiving.
Both ways.
Last question. If you were to give a gift, it could be a quote, a saying, a thought to everybody listening. What would your gift be?
I think that there will be, it's just a thought that came to me when you were speaking. Love is all you need, and love is all you have.
Right on. Love is all you need and love is all you have. T-shirts.
Yeah, mugs.
I love that. And I think people who listen to this conversation will hear those words at a much, much deeper level. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. I will put, for everybody watching and wanting to get to know Masha more, where to spend time with her or connect with her, I will put all her links in the description so you can find her there. And I want to say thank you for your work. Thank you for being a bright light to where you are and showing people, helping people to understand life better so they can have a better life.
Thank you.
Thank
For
you.
this conversation.
All right. Bye, Masha.
Bye, everyone. See you.